to see so many people here. So it's quite a good crowd, and we certainly appreciate that. And as we start tonight's meeting, we started off on a sad note. We've had a long-time city employee over to water plant, Mr. Ray Kirby, who passed away. Ray has been there, like I say, for a long time. He went part-time, and every time needed, he came back and worked and helped, and very much appreciated. But if you would, keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. This time, if you'll please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, we come to you once again saying thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us, individually and as a group with the city. Come to you also asking that you be with the family of those that have recently lost loved ones, especially Mr. Kirby and his family at this time. We also ask that you place your healing hand on all of those that need your special touch. We ask that you protect our troops, guide their safe return. We also ask that you be with those here tonight and make all of our decisions those that are pleasing to you, and guide us as a council that tonight's decisions are in the best interest of all those concerned. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody's been presented a copy of tonight's proposed agenda. If there are no additions or corrections, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also in your package you have a copy of the regular council meeting minutes of August the 28th. If there are no additions or corrections to those minutes, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also in the packet there was a copy of the executive session minutes, also of August the 28th, with no additions or corrections to those. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? This is something that we've done for several years. We have a proclamation for National Education Week, and it is presented by the American Legion Auxiliary. Did I give you more than? No, I don't have before. And we're always pleased to do this to recognize our teachers, our school systems, and the value that they bring to our community. We appreciate the American Legion Auxiliary. We especially appreciate Dr. Joanne Meadows for her involvement in this, and she has done this, like I say, for a number of years. So, in bringing this to our attention, we appreciate very much. This time I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the schools represent a major investment in any community, and whereas teachers are a most important part of our community's leadership, and whereas schools represent the best possible avenue of improving the quality of life in our community, and whereas involved citizenry provide a most important facet in the community schools by their commitment to improving and supporting education at all levels. Now, therefore, I, Mayor James F. Palmer of the City of Calhoun, proclaim the week of November 13th through the 20th, 2017 as National Education Week. National Education Week. And I will sign the proclamation. And Joanne, if you'll come to the front, we'd like to have our picture made with you and the council. If the council would come down.
Okay.
we appreciate you bringing this to our attention as you have. We discuss it quite often, the value of schools to a community, and Joanne bringing it to our attention, but there are so many statistics that go along with that and the value in every community. So we appreciate all opportunities to recognize our teachers and our schools. Also, a reminder of the election to be held on November the 3rd. There are certain dates that I'd like to make mention once again to everybody. On October the 10th is the last day to register to vote, to be eligible to vote in November. The October the 16th is the first day to mail or issue absentee ballots, and this is the day for early voting. As I said, November the 3rd is the last day to mail or issue the absentee ballots. The voting takes place on November the 7th. Also on the ballot, there are several things for your consideration. One of those is the opportunity to continue the SPLOST. This is something that's presently in place with a new set of projects to be done by the SPLOST opportunity. Also, there will be a referendum to gain the input of the electorate on for the city of Calhoun as it pertains to term limits, and that would be 3 for the council and 2 for the mayor. Also would be an opportunity to vote on your position on changing the number of the council members from 4 to 6. We don't now have the council comments, but in starting those, I want to call attention to the fact that we have responded to the hurricane with our fire department as well as the electric department. The fire department and rescue group went to Camden County. The electric department went to Crisp County. We've been very fortunate in the past to take these, have these opportunities ourselves to have people come in and do work for us. So we're always try to help out whenever we can. And with that, I'd ask if Lindy, if you and Jeff would like to comment on what you were able to do and what you were able to see.
Mr. Mayor, we left with our GSAR unit, which is made up of different departments in the 21 county local area. We took 23 folks, and we were originally headed to Valdosta, but when we got down that way, they were telling us that the damage in Valdosta was not enough for them for us to be deployed there, so we were sent to Camden County. When we got to Camden County, they had no water, power, sewer
many Calhoun fire officials were there?
We had 5 from the city, 3 from Gordon County, and the rest were from Dalton, Bartow, College. It's made up of our team. We were originally going to take 37 or 38. When the storms were predicted to do what they were going to do here, other jurisdictions didn't send some of their folks. Before we left, we made arrangements with a few other jurisdictions that have rescue units that were provided by grants to be able to service our area and other areas. So our area was not left unprotected.
You're good. Thank you.
The city county electric department, 6 people. Chris County, they had over 50 poles that had to be replaced. Rural, mainly the rural, the county is, and a lot of back roads and dirt roads, and a lot of gnats down there. It's always better to give aid than it is to me.
Jeff, I was coming out of South Georgia, and I bet you I saw 1,000 trucks. Do you have any idea what the number was?
It was well over 40,000 electrical linemen that worked in South Georgia and Florida. There's still a lot of electric cities that are on the way to the Gulf, to the Keys right now to work.
Wow.
But all our people are back.
Thank you very much for those reports. Council comments, we'll begin with Councilman Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The water and wastewater and engineering departments for the month of September, 2-inch galvanized line replacement project is approximately 95% complete. The new NPDES permit for wastewater treatment plant went into effect back March 1st of last year. The chemical feed lines are 97% complete. As part of the requirements, steps are underway to meet the stormwater segment of the Watershed Protection Plan, and we're currently investigating possibilities for a Section 319 grant for stormwater improvements. The Nutrient Trading Monitoring Pilot Program, Year 2 of the program, has begun, and the first sampling event was completed August 15th. Wastewater Treatment Plant Motor Control Center upgrades Phase 2. These are on site and installation is in progress and going well thus far. The South Calhoun Bypass utility relocations. Section of water main along Union Grove Road is nearly complete. Crews have completed the area at Highway 53 East, and work is underway on the only remaining area along US 41. The Pisgah drainage area sewer replacement. Bid opening was back on January, and IPR Southeast was chosen as the contractor. And they have been working for the last few months now and have made really good progress, and we've actually revisited the scope of work on that, and they have been doing that phase as well. So. State Route 156 water main relocation plans have been submitted to GDOT. North Wall Street and Redbud Road intersection improvements. GDOT has asked for and was given an estimate to relocate any utilities in conflict with the proposed project. Highway 41 South at Lynn Creek has to do with a road and bridge widening project for the Department of Transportation, and plans have been submitted to GDOT on that. And resuming unidirectional flushing program in March of next year. Projects in engineering conceptual design on the sewer side, Blackwood Creek trunk sewer replacement, Yarborough Street replacement sewer, and Louise Avenue, Cherry Street, and Florence Avenue sewer replacement. And on the water side, there's Bellwood Road water transmission main, Curtis Parkway water main, Reeves Station water main, and the second interconnect with Pickens County. Water treatment plant for the month of August, total gallons withdrawn was the highest number so far this year, 344,700,000 gallons. It's a daily average of 11,119,000, and that's up from a monthly average of about 9,850,000. Rainfall for the month of August was 5.67 inches, giving us 44.3 inches year to date, and that compares to 30.69 inches for the entire year last year. And we got a pretty good little bit of rain last week. So September's going to be another, maybe, not extremely wet, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of this 5.5-inch average that we're seeing monthly so far this year. And as long as we don't get too much of it all at one time, that's a good thing, because obviously last year was pretty much drought conditions for most of the year, and so having a shot at coming in with somewhere upwards of 55, 60 inches for the year, unless it turns awfully dry, that's a real good improvement. But again, I get kind of carried away talking about that, but it is important to all of us, but yet it's one thing we can't do anything about other than try to be as conservative as possible in our use of the water resources that we have. So anyway, good news there, hopefully. Wastewater treatment, for the month of August, the average daily flow 4.548, which is, maybe it's just a coincidence and maybe the numbers aren't right, but that's the exact same number as July. The average BOD affluent is 3, the average suspended affluent 10, and the average COD affluent 44. And all of those numbers are pretty much in line with the year-to-date monthly average. So, water distribution, there were 432 total work orders complete during the month. These included 18 water connections installed, 50 water service leaks repaired, 29 water main leaks repaired, 61 calls to investigate reported leaks, 12 meter cutoff valves replaced, 13 fire hydrants repaired, 6 calls to check water pressure, 205 meter repairs, meter pulls or turn water on or off, 10 calls to flush water lines, 3 repairs of road or driveways due to pipe work that had to be done. 534 utility locates were responded to, 62 utility locates called in for work orders, 40 emergency utility locates called in for repairs, and 112 miscellaneous calls responded to. On August 1st, we began installing 3,000 feet of 6-inch PVC pipe along Owens Chapel Road, and on August 15th installed new 4-inch conduit at the sewer plant for alum feed lines. Wastewater collection, there were 4 new sewer connections installed, 3 sanitary sewer services repaired, 3,650 feet of sanitary sewer services TV inspected, 371 utility locates completed, 2 lift station repairs, 11 sewer calls, 9 for service lines, and 7 on the customer side. 5,600 feet of sanitary sewer lines cleaned, 76 manholes opened and inspected, and 14,000 feet of sewer line rights-of-way were cleared. The Calhoun Police Department for the month of August. Anticipated fines for the month were $94,660. Actual fines collected from previous cases were $40,833. There are 429 cases made that included 10 state warrants with 376 total counts, 4 search warrants, 56 speeding violations, 11 DUIs, 3 juvenile complaints, and 345 other. And most of those others typically have to do with traffic violations of one sort and another, improper or no tag, no driver's license, no proof of insurance, and those kinds of things. Provided 21 medical assists, issued 436 warnings. So there again, the naysayers that want to accuse us of being out to get them all the time, issued 436 warnings, and there were only 429 total cases made. So we're still doing more warnings than actual ticketing and arrests and whatever. So we're not being bad guys, I don't think. So keep up the good work, Chief. There were 60 highway accidents reported, 39 private property accidents. There were 21 injuries involved in those accidents. Provided 37 escorts. There were 1,483 incident reports, 274 alarms, and patrolled 51,386 miles of city streets. The court stats for the month of August, there were 441 cases from the police department, and the anticipated fines were the aforementioned $94,660. 93 cases were dropped. 405 cases went to court. These total dollars of those court cases were $54,400. There were 236 bond forfeitures involving $23,425. 41 probation cases, $5,413.50 of probation payments, 7 probation revocations, 141 bench warrants, 63 SSI warrants, 48 FTAs, 7 prisoner transports, 77 rescheduled cases, and 7 subpoenas were served. The the fire department, fire suppression division, there were 210 total reported calls for service. These involved 15 fire incidents involving $12,900 in estimated fire damage, 108 emergency medical services, rescues. We're basically responding with ambulances to different kinds of calls. There were 7 hazardous conditions incidents that did not involve fire, but leaks, electrical hazards, and other hazardous conditions of that sort without injuries. 13 service calls. These can be water leaks or to assist other agencies with non-emergency calls. 38 good intent calls, smoke or odor checks, investigation of unknown problems. 18 false alarms or false calls, and 1 special incident that involves generally a citizen complaint of some sort. Additional fire department activities, all routine vehicle and station maintenance was completed. The training division, the Calhoun Fire Department, completed 776 total man-hours of training during the month. And this consisted of training, the training topics consisted of apparatus operations, pump operations, rope training with the GSP SWAT at the City Fire Department's training tower, landing classes with each shift conducted by life force crews, and the fire inspections, public safety education division. There were 92 total reported activities, and these included 37 annual inspections, 3 new business inspections, 16 requested inspections, 7 follow-up or re-inspections, 2 burn site inspections, 2 plan reviews, 1 sprinkler permit was issued in the amount of $536, 2 tank permits involving installation or removal of tanks, $414 involved with that permitting. 21 consultations, 1 illegal burning citation was issued. Additional activity for the Safety and Codes Division, Lieutenant Duvall attended the city safety meeting and site inspections, conducted a fire drill at Ashworth Middle School, and conducted fire drills at Calhoun Elementary and Calhoun Primary School. The building inspector's monthly report, there were 8 new residential permits issued with estimated cost of $1,565,000. Total permit fee cost $7,350. 4 residential remodels totaling just a shade under $190,000, $923 of permits. 4 commercial remodels or additions, $485,000 and $2,623 of permits. There were 6 residential plumbing permits, 10 residential electric, 2 commercial plumbing, 6 residential HVAC, 3 commercial HVAC, 1 commercial electrical, 1 industrial electrical, 1 sign permit, 1 pool permit, and 1 grading permit. Total of 48 permits issued with total estimated costs of $2,789,410 and total permit fees of $18,094. That, sir, concludes my report.
And thank you very much for that report. Councilman Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the safety report for the month of August, the Safety Committee met on August the 8th. The topic was safe driving. The safety inspection was completed on August the 15th at the sewer plant. We had 1 vehicle accident and 1 workers' compensation. The DDA director attended the Business Engagement Committee meeting, a Young Professionals meeting, a Chamber of Commerce booster breakfast, and a Georgia Downtown Conference. The HPC held their regularly scheduled meeting. There were 2 COA approvals. The DDA created a website for the community for tourists to enjoy. The website is downtowncalhounga.com. The farmers market is currently being held every Monday from 10 to 2 and Thursday from 2 to 7 until September the 28th, so it's not much longer. The market has been successful for the DDA hopes to continue their partnership with the local farmers for next year. The Food Trucks and Friends events was held on August the 18th with a crowd of over 900 people. So it was a pretty big success. We weren't expecting that many people, so we were very excited about that. The DDA hopes to do this event again in the near future. The Harvest Fest is scheduled for October the 28th from 10 to 4 in the downtown Calhoun. It's a free to the community, and the DDA hopes to see everyone there for the food, arts, crafts, and free tractor rides. Under the electric department, construction continues for the new Holiday Inn Express, and also for the new Aspen Dental Building. Pole replacements continue on Newtown Road, Curtis Parkway, and Deuce Pond Road. Construction has begun on 10 new units at JW Plaza. They had 102 newly created work orders, completed and closed 91. We had works for other department 36, 8 new meters, and 251 electric locate tickets processed. The City of Calhoun electric load for August was projected to be 43 million kilowatt hours. This is the same as it was last year, and about 1 million more than last month. And actual numbers were released later in the week, which that's been processed. Was that about what it was, Jeff? Okay. And as Jimmy said earlier about the mutual aid request, I'll name the 6 guys that left our community and their families. Brett Sane, Dennis Henry, Neil Dockery, DK Nicholson, Barry Walraven, and Jesse Shook. Just want to let you know those guys' names who were doing that. And our mutual aid continues to help others as they've helped us. Under telecommunications, we added 3 new internet connections and disconnected 1 point-to-point. The plan to start pulling fiber for the Brittany water plant in late of this month. Outside plant crew has been surveying vaults for missing pull strings, identifying several locations to replace those strings. Also visited the recreation department and reviewed the security camera requirement for the gymnasium, pool areas, and the pavilion and playground on McDaniel Station and the concession stand next to the ball fields. Ordered a recorder and 7 cameras to cover these areas. Opened 16 and closed 15 work orders. Under GIS, we new updates to resolve the mobile application errors, integrated new Gordon County fire hydrant installation into our GIS, which will help with our mutual aid program with Gordon County as well, and updated the city GIS websites. Mr. Mayor, that completes my report. For a little bit more details, you can get online or come by City Hall.
Thank you very much for that. Councilwoman Powell-Zola.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the month of August, the street department completed 32 shop and 31 street department work orders. They repaired potholes and utility cuts throughout the city using approximately 31 tons of asphalt. Sean Chastain attended the GDOT Title VI training classes. Our cemetery department, they were busy just performing routine maintenances on both cemeteries. They supervised the opening and closing of 6 grave sites, and they sold 5 new grave sites. Our parks department continued to be busy, just basically picking up litter, hauling garbage to the dump, and maintaining the records room. They also repaired broken sprinkler heads and water lines at our downtown parks, and they replaced the faucet and the bathroom door here at the depot, so we appreciate that. Our animal control for this month, they did have to euthanize 1 dog, but I did find out that one dog, it was a severe bite case, and that individual did have to be transported up to Erlanger. As of right now, I don't know the update on it. This happened a while ago, but I do believe she was okay. They do have a remaining 8 dogs and 4 cats, and one of those dogs happens to be a beautiful little lab. So if somebody's looking for a dog, you definitely need to go on Facebook and check that out, and the kittens are adorable as well. The Calhoun Recycling Center, they brought in revenue of almost $6,000 this month, or in August, I'm sorry. with 23 tons of cardboard, and thanks to Chick-fil-A, they contributed 2.4 tons of that cardboard, and they actually had it delivered to the warehouse, so we appreciate that. Speaking about recycling, at our next City Council meeting on Monday, September 25th, we are going to have a green initiative, and they're actually going to be here with Calhoun City Schools, and we're going to spotlight the schools for all of the work that they do with recycling, as well as the 60+ businesses that are now supporting our recycling center in the city. So definitely put that on your calendars and try to be here on the 25th. I know that Judy and everyone that volunteers over there would greatly appreciate your attendance. Our rec department was very busy. They had registration for fall sports. They are going to have 284 participants for football, 61 for cheerleading, 395 participants for soccer. They have 5 teams of co-ed adult softball leagues. Youth soccer was September 16th for the opening day, and youth football, the opening day was September 9th. And they also had their STARS program on August 12th and August 26th with soccer, arts, and crafts. And I believe, Mr. Mayor, that's my report.
Anything on the library? Is that yours or is that David's?
I do not have anything on the library. No.
So thank you very much for that report. Councilman Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to such a large group. As most of you know, I'm going to be leaving at the end of the year. I want to take the time remaining before the election to talk about 2 issues that I feel very passionate about. That's expanding the council from 4 to 6 members and term limits. So I'll be doing this along with my reports over the next few weeks. Document that is up there, and I'm assuming that's in the packet. Is that correct, Paul and Sharon? That's showing cities our size, smaller and larger, in the Georgia Municipal Association. The one in yellow is the city of Calhoun at 4 elected officials. The 3, and if you can scroll that up just a tad, the 3 are Rome, Dalton, and Cartersville that are listed there. Dalton is listed at 4. Rome is at 8, and well, 8 to 9. It fluctuates depending on size. And Cartersville is at 6, but the bottom line there in red is the most important. Of those cities, 73% have more than 4 people as their elected body to make complex, complicated decisions. Can you go to the next one, Sharon? The next one, and that isn't it. That's quite all right. The next one's going to be the MEAG cities. We talk a lot about MEAG. MEAG is the Municipal Electrical Association of Georgia. There it is. Thank you, Sharon, for getting that up. Those are cities that are involved in electrical generation projects, whether they be nuclear, coal, hydro, or natural gas. Those are things that we make investments to last 50 years. We made an investment in Vogel 1 and 2 25 years ago to go nuclear. That allowed us to have a larger green footprint. If cap and trade or carbon tax came in from Washington, industry would want to be in Calhoun because they would save money. We made a commitment to go with 3 and 4. This was a well thought out decision by everybody up here. I still back the decision 100%, but that has turned into be about a $12 billion cost overrun. We're still going forward with it, but that's $250 million that the city of Calhoun is invested in for the next 25 years. So I say that just to say this. The cities, again, 78% in that one. MEAG is 79.1% of the cities, more than 4. We have a lot of multi-million-dollar decisions that are made at this table, and I know George knows that. Alvin knows that from the county and the other candidates that are running. We spend over $1 million a year with the Georgia Municipal Association. We spend $28 million a year with MEAG. That's for buying energy and reselling it. In theory, there's a profit, right, Jeff, at the end of that equation. And $33,000 at Northwest Regional Commission. Guys, it's big dollar involvement. You need intelligent, thoughtful consideration before you obligate taxpayers and ratepayers on these decisions. So use this just as an informative piece. We'll have a difference of agreement as to whether to go 4 to 6. That's the great thing about the voting box. Each one of you that's registered to vote will step in there and make a decision. So do your homework, understand the information, and then when you go in, you've made an informed decision. We also have the revolving loan program here in the city of Calhoun, and almost everything we do is to try to either grow the labor force, grow jobs, economic development. Local job creations where the city businesses are eligible to borrow $15,000 per job created or retained. If they want to borrow money, they can borrow from the city of Calhoun that initially got the money. Jimmy, correct me, it came from Carriage Carpets when they did an expansion, and it came from the Department of Community Affairs. Is that correct?
Mr. Clarence?
Yes, Clarence. And that has given us seed money of millions of dollars. And it's gone into many businesses. The program has resulted in 692 jobs created. We loan that money out at 2% interest with a 50% match from another source required. You can see up there in the notes there's currently $1,655,000 available to be loaned. If that dollar amount stayed there by the end of September, we would be giving back $300,000 and some change to the Department of Community Affairs. In the last 3 weeks, 3 loans have been approved. B-Kid Academies approved for $350,000. Jones and Irwin PC will be looked at and talked about on tonight's agenda, and King Street Market, September's agenda also. That'll leave us $461,000 available to anybody else that wants to create or retain jobs in our community. We're also going to be visiting with DCA to see if we can expand that as our community goes with more downtown living, downtown dining, and other options. How can we be progressive in our thinking of what's next? So if you've got a question about a revolving loan fund, call City Hall and get a copy of it, and then you can make an informed decision there also. Guys, I always talk about the Regional Commission, and I talk about the Workforce Investment Board. Workforce Investment Board is just one of 3 boards associated with the Regional Commission that deals with displaced employees. That's us right there, up there on the board right now. Kmart, we all know Kmart, it's closing. Not just in our community, but all the way across the region and probably across the nation. Guys, that's 50 people. That may be your neighbor, it may be mine, but that's 50 people that will be without a job. And the Northwest Regional Commission with the Workforce Investment Board will come in and either retrain or assist those individuals in finding other employment. Superior Manufacturing was in 2016. That was 45 employees. Omnova was in 2016. That was 46 employees. And of course the big one was Case New Holland. That's the old Cabelco. That's earth moving equipment. That was 120 employees that lost their jobs. So Regional Commission does a lot in workforce investment to get those people back and in the employment line. Can you go to the next one, Sharon? That's the graph that I always put up. You're always shooting, if you can, to be blue. We actually made it to blue 2 months ago, where we beat the regional and the state unemployment rate. Right now we're back to gray. Gordon County is at 5.2% unemployment because of Kmart and the other closures. Pickens County is got the lowest yet in Catoosa with 4 and Paulding 4.5, 4.5. Those are the 3 in the blue. Guys, those people are going to the metros. They're going to Chattanooga for jobs, and they're going to Atlanta for jobs. You can see, and if you can scroll over, and I know this is in the packet also, right? Guys, that's in the packet. I'm not going to go over it, but look at it yourself. It tells you how many workers you have in each community. You can look at Gordon County, and you can see we're at 25,000 plus. That's manufacturing jobs, people. The population's only 16,000 in the city. So people are coming into Calhoun to work in those jobs. And you can see Paulding County, and you don't have to go to it, Sharon, but it's 81,000. That, again, is going into the metro. Some good data there. If you're not familiar with it, glance over it, understand what your wage rates are. You can see in the comparisons how a manufacturing community stacks up to a metro community, stacks up to a non-metro community in earning potential. That comes through the Regional Commission, also. So some good data there for that. And bear with me as I shift pages. The library. Guys, I don't know how many of you guys go to the library, but we started with our kids when they were very young. They love to read. Reading is the window to everything in the future. Obviously, it still is. In August, 11,286 people had library cards at the Calhoun Library, had visitors of 7,258. That's a lot of people. That's half your population. And you can see, if you look down in there, how it has changed. We talk about communities changing. We don't want to always be who we are. We want to be who we can be. And when you look at this, the library had 249 ebooks and had 1,451 computer logins. So the next generation started with books, but they've gone on to the electronic media now. So that's a good thing. And our library supports that. That's a joint project with Calhoun and Gordon County. It's managed and operated by the Northwest Regional Library Association, and we have board members here in this community. So that's a great thing also. Finally, and I'm just about done, let me talk a little bit about the airport. Tom B. David Airport, that's down on 41 South. We're going to be celebrating 50 years in operation October the 3rd at 5:30 p.m. The entire public is welcome. It will be like a chamber after hours. Come by and see what is happening with that economic engine. You're going to be spending roughly $15 million at that airport, in the next 5 years. $10 million of it's coming as a federal grant. That's your federal tax dollars going to Washington, D.C., and then coming back to Calhoun, Georgia, because we are the 7th largest permanently based aircraft airport in the state of Georgia. 7th largest. We're not the 7th largest city. We're not even the 7th largest county. That tells you people want to be here in Northwest Georgia Regional. So we're going to be putting 100% taxiway. That'll be more takeoffs and landings, so that's good for the business climate. The next thing is a $5 million investment. Again, the research engineering study funded jointly by the City of Calhoun and the Gordon County Commissioners to go with commercial hangars for commercial jets. You've heard me talk about it before. One meeting I was at, Eddie was there also, there was a gentleman who obligated for 2 jets if we built that. Those jets generate $168,000 a year just in ad valorem tax. These are multi-million-dollar planes. They want to be here because it's economically viable to operate out of Northwest Georgia. One other thing, and this ought to be important to everybody up here. I know Al talked about it with the public safety takeoff and landings of Life Force. Life Force has been here for, I don't know, 6, 8 years, something like that. But they've been on a rental contract. Life Force is if your children, your grandchildren, God forbid, get hurt or ill and they need immediate care at a Trauma 1 center, they can be picked up by that helicopter and landed in Chattanooga at Erlanger Trauma 1 in 15 minutes. That's life-saving, folks. They were looking at the possibilities of relocating out of Calhoun because they had a rental base and they wanted a permanent base. They wanted their own building. So that has taken place with the City of Calhoun and Gordon County and the Department of Transportation weighing in for a SL-DCL lane to make it possible. So they're going to be investing for 20 years on the south side of the runway. So Life Flight should be here for quite a while for your family and mine. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments for today.
Thank you. On that Life Flight, that is a very expensive thing if you're ever in need of it. And I want to say it's in the vicinity of $38,000 to $40,000 if for that. I will try to get more information and give it to Councilman Hammond, but I had somebody come in with me from Erlanger and the group that spoke about the opportunity for basically a contract with them where it was just a small amount on a yearly basis that if it was ever needed. But I will try to get that to Councilman Hammond, get more information, and so that it can be reported. I do appreciate Council.
Let me say one more thing, Jimmy. On that date for the 50th anniversary, Life Flight will be there. So if you want more information about Life Flight, you can see them that night. So just plan to go out. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you very much. And And on Councilman Hammond's information about the increasing the number of board members from 4 to 6, I do appreciate that information, and I appreciate him sharing it with me prior to that. And I know what he said is an accurate thing, but you know, there's different ways to look at it as well. Of the member cities of the same population, so there are 14 of the 25 cities have less than 6. And that's either 4 or 5. One city has 2. But of that, those, you assume that there's different structures in the government, but when you have 5, you would assume that they have 5 voting members. And what you've got here is when the mayor only votes in the case of a tie, but still, when necessary, there are 5 voting members. And that's, like I say, of 25 cities. On the MEAG cities, the same thing would apply. Of the 48 MEAG cities, 26 of those have less than 6. So sometimes looking at the numbers, they can say different things depending on how you want to look at them. But the proposal is to increase the number of council members from a 4 to a 6, and I'm sure there'll be more discussion on that later. And we have Councilwoman Palazzolo would like to make one other comment.
I just forgot to mention, as I was walking in, I picked up a little flyer from Miss Billie Jean, and on Saturday, September 30th at Tractor Supply, they're going to have a Love a Dog fundraiser. It's the first annual dog wash, and it's not bad. $20 for a large dog, $15 for a medium, $10 for a small, and they'll even trim the nails for 2. So if you have a little puppy or a dog, take them over there and you can help this organization out.
When and where again?
It is at Tractor Supply, Saturday, September 30th.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms.
We'll
Billie.
now have the public hearings. The public will have the opportunity to make pro and con comments with a 10-minute maximum time limit with each side of the matter, and with each person speaking having filed a financial disclosure statement 5 days prior to the hearing if required, and each person speaking, if you would, give your name and address. At this time, I would ask if anybody on the council has had need of a financial disclosure statement.
No, sir.
Hearing none, I would remind everybody that in your packet you've got a copy of the minutes of the Zoning Advisory Board. One item on there was a variance request by Lidl. That item has been withdrawn. So the first item is hearing and a public hearing on the annexation and zoning request. This request is for R1B. It is for 0.17 acres. This is located at 108 Yarborough Street. Request by Judy Curtis. Zoning Advisory Board met on September the 7th. This time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the legal requirements have been met.
Yes, they have, Mayor.
This time, a report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
Mr. Mayor, the Zoning Advisory Board members were all in favor of the annexation and the zoning for this property.
Thank you very much. This time we'll ask for comments concerning 108 Yarborough Street. Request is R1B. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation request.
I make a motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also, next item is a motion concerning the zoning request.
And I make a motion to approve the zoning request as well.
I'll second that as well.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is annexation and zoning request of R1B. This is for 1.04 acres. This property is located at 117 Peter Street. The request is by Israel Vasquez. Zoning Advisory Board once again met on September the 7th. This time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the legal requirements have been met.
Yes, they have, Mayor.
Report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
All the members were in favor of both annexation and zoning.
This time we'll ask for comments concerning the request of R1B for 117 Peter Street. If you'd like. You know, anything you'd like to say? I take that as you're in favor of it, since you did it. Anybody have any questions or comments concerning the request? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation.
I make a motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? And next, I'd ask for a motion concerning the zoning request.
I make a motion to approve the zoning request as well.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome, Calhoun.
Welcome to Calhoun. Next item is annexation and zoning request of R1B. This request is for 0.83 acres. It is located at 113 Peter Street. The request is by Maria Fitz-Salas. Zoning Advisory Board met on September the 7th. This time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the legal requirements have been met.
Yes, they have.
Thank you very much. This time we'll ask for a report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
All members were in favor of both annexation and zoning request.
Once again, we'll ask for comments concerning the R1B request for 113 Peter Street, annexation and zoning. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion concerning the annexation request.
Mr. Mayor, make the motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is a zoning change request. This request would be from Industrial G to R2. It is for 1.95 acres at a, excuse me, Councilman Edwards just told me I forgot the zoning. So with that, do I have a motion for the zoning request of R1B?
I make a motion to approve the zoning request.
Motion is second.
The owner of this property wants to sell it, but it has to be a variance for us to be able to use it. They do not prefer that the zoning be changed if it cannot be utilized, and the variance would have to be approved before it could be utilized.
You're talking about the one on Edmond Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We had
We're on Peter
failed to
Street?
do the zoning on the previous one, so we're on it. Hang with us a second. We'll get to it.
Okay.
I think, okay. And moving forward, what you're asking to do is flip-flop F and G on the zoning.
Yeah.
You want to look at the variance request before they do the zoning change request.
Yeah, we got to vote on this one first. We did a motion.
Okay. Got a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do what, Mr. President?
No, I'm saying we had not closed out on the city yet, so.
Okay. Is there,
The problem with, as we were discussing before the meeting started, until zoning request is made, we can't, the variance can't be considered because unless it is changed to R2, then the variance from 800 to 300 by 500 square foot variance isn't even applicable into industrial G. So, I mean, it's kind of like you can't zone before you annex. You can't grant a variance to the building use until you've actually zoned it the particular zoning, so it controls the use.
All right, well, let me just go with this, Haley, and you'll help me out here. I'm gonna make a motion to table your variance request, and only for a 60 or 90 days to get a. I've already, when I talked to you earlier, even close to a year ago, I told you government's slow, and when the last one got canceled, I didn't realize you'd be back so fast. Talked extensively with Ms. Palazzolo. I believe she's talked to you a good bit, and we think this is a good resolution to give us a little bit more time to have a real good discussion. We don't want to say no. I mean, everybody's here trying to help people in need, and so we go before. We're still going to have a public hearing, in my perspective, but if you need to table all of this until that time, we can do that as well, if that's what you request. I mean, if you don't want.
If we can't consider both of those in a package, then I don't have any problem in considering continuing this, but we'd like to get this resolved. And if I could just point out one thing, when we started out from the outset, we thought it was important to sound the alarm in regards to affordable housing. We didn't come to the city with any great intentions about getting into any kind of business. We asked that the city consider a tiny homes ordinance or to come up with an alternate plan of their own. And game plan C was when we said, well, you know, we've got these buildings, we can do something that's cost effective, but it just seems like if we're concerned about the fact that Georgia's 42nd in the country, that Gordon County is 93rd in the state, we had 2 deaths in 2016, it could be attributed to affordable housing, that there is a need there. If we don't feel like there's great urgency or great need, I may have made some wrong assumptions, but if the council feels like there is that need that we need to take a look at, we're all for looking at some options. If we need a little more time to do that, and we can't do this as a package deal tonight, I don't have any big problem with that.
All right, well, let's just, George, can we table all those options until later time? Motion to table all those involved with Haley Stevens project.
So motion to table the,
But I would like to still have discussion tonight since everybody's here, for both sides. I mean, everybody's wanting to try to help. They're trying to do it different ways. And so hopefully, and maybe in the meantime, we can get Mr. Worley to work to maybe we can have a public forum here and have everybody more set to show examples and stuff like that, and, you know, maybe come to a resolution. It may not come to a resolution, but I think everybody's heart's in the right place. It's just not mentally not working together yet.
and just for the record, Mayor and Council have requested that I start looking legally into tiny housing ordinances and such, but the problem is right now, our building code is governed by the International Building Code, which as of 2018 is looking at their first standardized, there is no standardizations to tiny homes. They could be anything from a glorified camper to separate units to, that's been the difficulty. Different plans in different areas that have done it different ways. There is no standardization. So that's one of the principal legal issues right now is since the International Building Code hasn't adopted one, even though it's been put up 2016, 2017, I believe 2015, 2018 apparently may be the year according to everything I've read. But if you tabled it, then, you know,
That's what the motion I'm making.
Items D and E for a period of 90 days.
Yeah.
60 days would be plenty.
I mean, I'm open to either one. I mean, it's not a.
60 days is quicker. Let's do this. Or I'm not amending your motion under any circumstance, but we've got passionate people on both sides. It really wants to work something out. Let's advertise, Paul, if you'd check and see when the depot is available, let's advertise publicly so that every party that has concerns can come and discuss both sides of this issue, and then we can move forward with government taking action. Government should be limited in its action, but it needs to serve the people. So we get more input from pro and con. 60 days, make a decision, and that way we won't waste a lot of time.
Just from the procedure that's there, there is a motion for 90. So are you amending the motion?
I'll amend the motion to 60 days.
No, I'm not amending
with
the
the
motion.
All right, now there's an
That's
amended
what he said.
motion to 60.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take over there, Mayor, but I just knew that was going to be a nightmare for her on the minutes.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let me ask you another question, Mr. Cavilion.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Barton brought this up. There are several other people in the audience that were prepared to speak, I think, concerning this particular item. And since with Mr. Stevens speaking, should they be allowed to speak?
That's what I asked for. I wanted everybody to have I wanted everyone to.
That subject should be.
Yeah, I wanted everyone to be able to discuss tonight.
The matter's tabled, so there technically is a discussion, but I mean, you can certainly hold a public hearing.
Nothing harmful about doing that. Let's do it.
With that, I would ask if anybody else in the audience has questions or comments they'd like to make concerning the variance request.
And Haley may not have been able to say all that he wanted to say, too.
Sure.
Gordon County is 93rd in the state, but 93rd what? And that was from a document I published about a year and a half ago. And that document is that we are 93rd in the state in the poverty rate, the number of people who are living in poverty at 150% of the federal guideline. Now, when you look at children and families, that drops to 42%. But I do have other data that indicates, and I have copies for you all as well as for Mr. Stevens, that according to the county health rankings for the CDC, that the general health and well-being of families in Gordon County ranks 50 out of 159 of the counties. So we have to put that 93 in a perspective. And that's all I'm trying to point out. For the length of our life, we're at 65 out of 159 counties. For the quality of life, we rank 54th out of all the counties. So there are higher numbers. For example, violent crime in our community. We rank 132nd out of 159. Those are alarming numbers as well. But you see, my concern was just to clarify what that number was. And I do have a copy of that document if anyone would like to see that. And that was again published by me back in, I believe it was April of 16. So like I say, I just wanted to clarify what that 93 represented. And if there are no questions, I will Thank you.
very much. Anybody else? With that, it's been suggested, and it was talked about at the work session today about having a public forum concerning this issue where everybody could have the opportunity to gain more information and better understanding of all of it. Perhaps the opportunity to work together in some way for Mr. Stevens that through the agencies and a better understanding of the HUD issues and all of those type things as well. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and we will continue that at a table, and
Haley,
we'll continue that at a later date.
I was going to check with Haley. Did you want to say anything else, Haley? Would you like to say anything else?
Oh, I just like to say that there's no doubt that we need regulations, we need zoning laws. We do need to have that kind of thing, but we do need to temper that with some common sense. I have today, after about 5 months, hopefully reached a period of time where I can pour some concrete tomorrow. It's in the county, so don't have to worry about that. But I had to get a variance because it was over 500 square feet structural steel. Now, I don't know if the county realizes this, but the bike building that they just bought is a structural steel building. Technically, if that been in the county, they would have to get a variance. So we really have no objections to zoning regulations, to protecting the public, but it does need to be tempered with some common sense. Hopefully, you guys can consider that in all of you.
Thank you very much. Next item is a variance request. This request is for 10 feet. It is to reduce the minimum distance from 20 feet to 10 feet. This is for a location at 127 Oakhurst Terrace, Northeast. The request is by Stephen Smith. Zoning Advisory Board met on September the 7th. At this time, we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the notices have been properly placed and given.
Yes, I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Report of the Zoning Advisory Board.
All members were in favor of the variance request.
Thank you. This time we'll ask for questions or comments concerning the request for a variance of 10 feet at 127 Oakhurst Terrace. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance request.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. And the next item is for a beer pouring license request for World of Wings. I would ask that this item be tabled due to the fact that there is not a proposed store manager named.
I'm the general manager.
Okay.
Of World of Wings. I'm supposed to go tomorrow, have the public hearing tonight, and do the fingerprints, because I do live in Gordon County. We're supposed to sign papers tomorrow, an appointment at 2 o'clock. I was just told I couldn't get fingerprints done until after the public hearing this evening.
And your name?
Brittany O'Shields.
That's okay, isn't it, George?
She's not the applicant on the application. I mean, that was designated in the application. So what we need to do would be table it and allow them to amend the application for consideration at the next meeting.
Our next meeting is Monday. Next Monday. Is that still plenty of time for you?
Yeah, I think our proposed projection date is like the 25th. I'm sorry, I think I'm being sick. But, as far as like the grand opening, as far as the alcohol goes, we could open without serving alcohol till we get everything taken care of. What do we need to do as far as tomorrow?
You'll need to contact City Hall tomorrow and then advise you, okay?
Okay.
The application doesn't contain her name.
Okay.
Go ahead and get the fingerprint.
Just contact Paul early tomorrow at City Hall,
Okay.
and he'll get you the information you need to take care of, and then we'll have you on the agenda for next Monday.
That's a week from today.
Okay, you guys said it was Worley?
Yes.
Will Sam need to come out here and fill out a new application and all that as well?
Just putting your information in as the proposed manager.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to table until those legal requirements are met.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. Under old business, we have the second reading of an ordinance to amend, strike, or change portions of Part 2 Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Business, Article 3, Regulatory License and Business Regulations, Division 5, Recycling Processing Centers, and this is to add Section 22-322. This would prohibit the donation collection containers that appear throughout the city. Public hearing is scheduled for September the 25th. Also have the second reading of an ordinance to amend, strike, or change portions of Part 2 Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, zoning, to clarify certain language or definitions and to increase maximum building height for districts C2 and General Business District and Industrial G, General Industrial District. And this would be to increase from 50 feet to 75 feet or 4 stories, whichever is greater. Public hearing also is scheduled for September the 25th. Also have a second reading of a beer package license request. This is by Mohammed Kuwar Ansari at a location of 461 Harris Beamer Road. Mr. Ansari will be the store manager, and the public hearing is scheduled for September the 25th. Under new business, we have the first reading of an ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Calhoun relating to municipal court. This would include certain fines and confinement time periods, and to provide for the appointment and duties of ministerial officers and other relative matters. This item will public hearing will be on October the 9th. Mr. Gavinian, do you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, not this time.
And the next item is an application. We have a revolving loan request, and with a recommendation, at this time I'll turn it over to Mr. Peterson.
Mayor, this request came in a little late, but it was addressed at the Revolving Loan Advisory Committee meeting, and later that week we received proxy from everyone who was in favor of this request to Giles and Stephanie Jones for upgrades to their property in downtown Calhoun of $100,000 over a 15-year period at 2%.
Thank you very much. And this is what Councilman Hammond was speaking of earlier. We appreciate the opportunity. So with that, does anybody have any questions concerning the opportunity?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed. Also, we have an alcohol manager change request. This is by 188 Highway 53 LLC, doing business as a Circle K. This is located at 943 Highway 53 Southeast. Prior manager was Zachary Mason. Proposed manager is Valerie Rodriguez. With that, do I have a motion to approve the change?
Move.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We also have a request from Utility Maintenance Department to declare a 1996 Ford F-150 pickup truck with mileage of 175,770 as surplus. If there are no questions or comments, do I have a motion?
Make a motion that that be permitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also, we have the opportunity to approve a change order request number 3. This is for the Pisgah area sewer line replacement project. Change order is in the amount of $12,413.44. The change order is necessary to cover unforeseen conditions of sewer elevation issues, buried storm drain structures, and other similar items. Mr. Worley, do you have any comments on that?
We discussed it some at lunch. It's basically just unforeseen storm drain structures and other items of that nature that we've had to engineer some workarounds and some additional costs involved.
If there are no other questions, do I have a motion concerning the change order of $12,413.44? Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Peterson.
Mayor, I think everyone has a copy of the original ethics ordinance prepared by Attorney Gavinian, and if everyone would provide any changes, additions, or deletions to this document, it would be helpful. If you could return to Sharon, Paul, or myself by Friday morning, we could then get these changes to George, and he could codify these, and then we could discuss this at our council meeting on Monday.
Okay. I know this was brought up before and appeared in the minutes and so forth, and it's been barely discussed before it was tabled, but this is the same ordinance as was presented the first time and appeared in the minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know there were some members that weren't present at lunch, so, and with that, the item will be discussed in length, I assume, at the next meeting, correct? The council meeting. So any change that might be suggested will be open to and be presented at the next meeting. And following that, the procedure would be to have 2 public hearings.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gavinian, Mr. Worley? No need for executive session. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody being here. Have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.